Clockpunk. I want you to say that word to yourself right now. Clockpunk. That is the term used to describe Mark Galeotti's Gran Meccanismo from Osprey Publishing. There are a few words to describe the actual game itself, though. But the only thing you really need to know is that this game is Pastapunk, Rotiniwave even, and possibly even DaVinci Core in what it's seeking to actually do. Going over the entire setting would be a task, as it's an extremely well realized setting to let you roleplay as your favorite alt history Florentine. As a quick summary though, Leonardo da Vinci is approached by Machiavelli to design weapons and the tools for the Florentine army. This leads to Da Vinci maxing across Florence and their dominance in the region as they beat the shit out of everyone with literal actual tanks. Following a series of victories, now Florence has elaborate flying machines, water-powered computers, and the enigmatic Gran Meccanismo itself, acting as a pseudo-Orwellian Florentine Skynet that is making progressively more choices for the ruling elite. All of this is still in the Renaissance, I may add, so various powers in the Holy Roman Empire, Venice, the papacy, and just about everyone else wants a piece of that Da Vinci for themselves. I'm going to be a little bit upfront when I say this setting is fascinating and the basis for an interesting set of stories. Renaissance spies, weird inventions, and even the classic mercenary stories, except everyone's got a lot more weird tech to help them out. The first 70 pages of this book is just dedicated to the setup more than anything. But what about the game itself, the TTRPG that this is all attached to? Well, it does exist. At its absolute basics, it's a d6 dice pool with a 4-up success and 6 acting as 2 successes, though most of the time it's going to be an opposed dice pool, meaning that my successes versus your successes, except when it isn't. There are technically 2 ways to resolve things. No roll challenges are when your dice pool is simply larger than the goal itself. If I have 8 dice, anything less than difficulty 5 is an assured success to me. Single rolls are all about that base difficulty or assembling a dice pool. This is the standard way of resolving things. However, a check can either be a flat difficulty or against a dice pool, so a slippery roof may be 4D or 3 successes to actually beat it. But how do we get our dice? We'll need to make our Pastapunk to explain things in that regard, so meet Anthony Gabagool, and he will suffice. First things first, we'll need to distribute 9 dice among our 3 attributes, body, mind, and soul. These form the baseline of our skills and abilities. There are quite a few ways to distribute these things with a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 5, though our main man Tony has a body of 4, mind 3, and soul 2. He's built like an ox and twice as mean about it. From there, we'll need to determine and distribute our traits. A trait is a phrase, word, or concept that is assigned a number of dice and written down in under one of our attributes. These could be built like an ox for 3D, meaning that whenever our mercenary wants to kick down a door, he'll add plus 3D. But it could also be beat you with my bare fucking hands at 4D, representing both intimidation and raw fisticuffs. Though we may want to have traits like a flashing sword or the ever-loyal Polly. Traits cover nearly everything. Not lying, they are everything. Your health is a series of traits that your opponent gets to use against you. Your gear is a series of traits that you can pick up, and literally everything else, including the scenery, are also traits. With 3 separate ways of picking traits, it may seem pretty overwhelming, but traditionally this is going to be your assortment, and making them isn't actually that complicated. The more you actually complete goals and advance the plot, which are traits unto themselves almost, the more you get to develop traits and attributes. Hell, even the meta currency just augments your dice to a success or a critical success, or adds more dice to your roll. That's a majority of everything, actually. What is a fight? 2 people roll, and the margin of victory determines how much damage you take. What is a debate? Roll your traits, beat their successes, determine the margin of victory for damage. Doing anything is usually going to be my bucket of dice against your bucket of dice, and then we all kind of just hope for the best. Here's the thing, though. I can't hate this system. I know, pitchforks and torches, you can put them down. This is a bare bones system that is trying to make sure you can play damn near everything in this setting with some extra jazz hands to make it a little bit more than a Rice's hack. For what it's trying to do, it works. The problem is that it's trying to be this all-encompassing game engine that can play spies, inventors, mercenaries, and everything else in a game under 200 pages, that a large chunk of which is dedicated to describing the setting, not necessarily what you're doing in the setting. It is interesting though. You may love the setting, but if that system isn't calling to you, then maybe rip it out and run it in your own system of choice. The clockpunk aspect is little more than just a marketing blurb for a rather alt-history take on what's going on. However, the system does its job. Nothing is glaringly wrong with it. It's just, well, it's pretty light on the marinara, capiche? My name is Notepad and this was Gran Meccanismo. If you like what I do here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Many thanks to the Venetian spies who continue to fund my misdeeds. Godspeed, good luck, and have a lovely rest of the day.